Welcome back. For years, South Africa has been grappling with a gender-based violence crisis. Now, women's rights organizations are concerned that the current lockdown will only exacerbate the issue. Tensions are likely to rise as people face job losses and income uncertainty. For more on this, I'm joined by Masimanyane Women's Support Center Director Leslie Ann Foster. Leslie Ann, thanks for your time. We appreciate it. So, the police minister says there's been over 2,000 GBV cases reported since the start of the lockdown. How do we deal with this?
Yeah, it's a tremendous problem. My own organization, which has 14 officers providing services, has also seen a spike in the number of women, seeking those services, seeking shelter. And we've already had 2 deaths in this time. I think what we have to understand is that with the lockdown, people are in confined spaces. So where previously, a man would go out to work for 8 hours or a woman for 8 hours, they'd be with other people, there'd be some relief. Now you have frustrations building up within those spaces, and that's very difficult. I think what is very important at this time is to create access for women that are seeking help. That's been quite a big problem. I sit on the Presidential Interim Committee on GBV, and this entire week, last week, we were talking about how to create that access, because we've been sharing safety plans with women on radio and through social media to say, if you know that you are in a situation where there's likely to be violence, create a safety plan for yourself. How do you get out quickly from a situation of violence? Who do you go to? Who do you reach out to, and so forth? These are very important strategies that people require in order to, women particularly, in order to find those safe spaces for themselves. It's a difficult problem, I think, because of the lockdown. Because even if, we were talking this morning about the fact that women in rural areas cannot just quickly get out of a home and walk to a place of safety, walk to a police station, go to a clinic or a hospital for help. The distances are enormous. And it's also easy for us to think that, you can pick up a phone and phone someone. But what if you don't have a phone? How do you actually deal with that? So we're looking at different models. There's a model particularly developed by a woman here in the East Cape called Judy Salwana, called Safe Persons Model. And that is having a safe person within a community that women can know about, where they can walk to or run to that person, and she would then source help for them. So we have, as the interim presidential committee, put through a provincial strategy where we can then look for people. I'm sorry about this. Something's gone wrong here.
It's okay. So it's a good chance for me to ask you the next question then. Of course, we know that some people will be able to make calls, reach out to people in the communities. But what about those who are in abusive relationships and other people don't know about it and they're too ashamed to actually ask for help? How do they deal with the situation?
Well, there are a lot of resources that people can get hold of now, and those resources include, for me, it's always being able to get the knowledge about not taking the shame and the blame of abuse. Most women take the shame and blame, and that's what stops them from actually reporting. So when we talk about creating safe spaces, it's about, are there people within the community, within their church communities or within school communities that women can talk to and tell, safely and confidentially talk about the violence, because those are the people that will then be able to direct them to the resources that they need. So when women are, and this is the problem with lockdown, is people can't, sometimes, women would have relief by just walking to the shop away from a violent situation. With a lockdown, they can't do that. That's why we see the spike, is because women haven't got the little avenues of relief that they could get. It's not there anymore. Yeah. So we also have, come up with a plan of how to relax some of those the regulations when it particularly comes to women in domestic violence, situations of domestic violence. But I think for women, it's always difficult to report, but they need the safe people, they need the safe spaces, and they need to know that they will be supported when they report. Yeah. And we haven't, actually breached that gap yet, that particular problem in our society. So we still have an enormous problem like that. But one thing I want to say is that there are far more resources available for women now, both in law and within the support services that are provided by government, by the state, and by civil society organizations.
Yeah.
So our staff are working remotely at the moment, and remotely means that they've been able to get protection orders for people via the internet. They download it, they help women to fill it in, and then it's a matter of taking it to a police station. So the state has actually created access for women. Problem is they don't always know about it, and that's when we have to go on radio, in print media, social media, to have women know that the resources are there. And I think social media is beginning to play a bigger role now, because we're finding that in working remotely, it doesn't cut women off from access. They can phone us. If they haven't got the money, they can give us a WhatsApp call or a please call me, and we're able to respond to them and so forth. So it's very important that we have the resources, we have the services, and that we create the access for women. Access is the big issue. Access is the big issue. Can they actually get to the police station? And the other problem that I think women have is what kind of response they get. It's very important that the response is appropriate. Often we have, reports saying that at some police stations, it's still considered a private matter, or people will make light of the fact that women is reporting a situation of domestic violence.
Yeah.
So those obstacles, we have to do away with that.
Yeah, it is a very difficult situation. Thank you so much for your time and the work that you are doing, Leslie Ann Foster.